Hello friends, welcome to the channel. I am Rohit. Hope you are doing good. Friends, in today's video we are going to talk about configuring routing information protocol, that is RIP, in Cisco Packet Tracer. So in today's video we are going to cover following several topics. So first of all, we will try to learn what is routing, why it is required. Then we will see what are various types of routing. Next to that, we will understand how routing protocols selecting the best path for forwarding all the packets to its destination. Next to that, we are going to learn where these routing algorithms are storing and maintaining information regarding routing paths. Next to that, we will see the classification of routing protocols in detail. Then we are going to understand specifically routing information protocol, that is RIP. Then we will learn what various versions are available of RIP. Then I will try to explain various drawbacks of RIP protocol. And at last I am going to show you some commands that we will use in the configuration of RIP in the Cisco Packet Tracer. So whenever we will actually perform that command, you will have little bit idea about that commands. That's why we are explaining it in theory part. So friends, let's start the video by understanding what is routing and why it is required. So friends, in a network, whenever two computers wants to communicate with each other, then there may be multiple paths available between them by which they will be able to communicate. So here the process of routing is actually selecting the best path for their communication on which all packets will travel from source to destination. So routing process is about finding the best path, optimal path on which all packets will be traveling in the communication. So this routing is basically performed by one special device called a router. So job of router is to forwarding packets on the best path towards their destination among n number of available paths. So this device is actually working in the network layer of OSI model, that is Open System Interconnection. So there are 7 layers we knew. So in the network layer, this router device is working. Now we understood what is routing. So we will try to understand now what are types of routing. So there are 3 types of routing: static routing, default routing and dynamic routing. So friends, first category we have static routing. So as its name suggests, static routing, so all the paths will be fed manually to a router by the network administrator. So this type of routing is suitable only for small kind of network, because if you try to talk about large network, then there will be so many paths available, and feeding all these paths to the router manually, this will be quite tedious task. And if there is any change again in the network, so again changing all that paths within the router, again very tedious task. That's why static routing is suitable only for small network, and these all routes will be fed within the router by the network administrator. Next type of routing we have default routing. So in this type of routing, a router will forward all the packets to the default gateway, for which it doesn't find any entry within its routing table. So whenever any packet is coming to a router, it first of all look within its routing table for its destination. So if it doesn't find any entry for that, it simply forward it to the default gateway. That is the default routing. And last type of routing we have dynamic routing. So exactly in contrast to the static routing, this type of routing having ability to learn the best path, the optimal path on which packets can be forwarded, on which packets can be transmitted. So here in a contrast, you try to understand static routing and dynamic routing. So static routing needs to be feed all the addresses, all the paths on which packets can be forwarded, whereas in case of dynamic routing, it doesn't need any feeding, it having ability to learn on its own. So dynamically it can learn all the paths available and on which it can forward the packets. As we learn in static routing that it is suitable only for small networks, whereas dynamic routing is suitable for large network where so many paths will be available between source and destination, and best path will be selected for transmitting the packets. So these are the types of routings. Now friends, we will move forward and let's try to understand now how routing protocols selecting the best path. So friends, as I told, between source and destination there are possibility that n number of paths will be available. So it's job of routing protocol to select the best path. So how they are selecting best path? So basically routing protocols are using a metric to determine the best path, the optimal path for packet delivery between source and destination. So what is this metric actually? So this is the standard of measurement. So they might use hop count, which represents the number of routers between and destination. They may use bandwidth, how much data can be passed at a time through the medium between source and destination. Delay they may use, current load on the path they may use. So such type of various standard of measurements they may use as a metric, and based on this they will select the best path. So for example, few routing protocols are using hop count as a metric. So whichever path will have minimum intermediate routers in between them, whichever path will have minimum number of router or hop count, so that path will be selected if they are using hop count as a metric. So likewise there are various metrics available. So based on these metrics they are deciding the best path to forward, to transmit the packets between source and destination. So friends, next point we will try to understand where these routing algorithms are storing all these route related information. So they have a special database called a routing table. So in routing table they have entry of all possible routes with their metric cost. So whenever any packet they want to transmit to specific destination, they check this routing table. Wherever they will find minimum cost in the metric, on that path the packets, the data will be transmitted. So for transmitting data they need help of a routing table, which is actually storing all details about the paths that a router can use for transmitting their packets. Okay. So now next point we have in the discussion, classification of routing protocols. Now friends, routing protocols are classified in several categories, and they are actually using various criteria for categorizing these routing protocols. So one of such criteria they are using for categorization is like how they are working, what is way of their operation, and for which type of networks they are designed. I am going to show you now the overview of classification of routing protocols, then we will go in details. So here friends, I have prepared this overview of classification of routing protocols. Now there are two main categories in the classification of routing protocols. First category is interior gateway protocols, that is referred as IGP, interior gateway protocols, and second category is referred as exterior gateway protocols. So again in these both of main categories there are subcategories available. So let's look in the first category, interior gateway protocols. Now in this there are two various protocols available: distance vector protocols and link state protocols. Now again, in the distance vector protocols, there are two protocols available which are using this distance vector protocol approach. First protocol is called RIP, that we are going to see in detail with its implementation in today's video. RIP stands for Routing Information Protocol. Second protocol we have EIGRP, that is Enhanced Interior Gateway Routing Protocol. So this protocol is by Cisco and it is proprietary to them. Okay, now second category we have link state protocols. So in this again we have two protocols. One is OSPF, that is Open Shortest Path First, and second one is ISIS. So this stands for Intermediate System to Intermediate System. So this is the first category, Interior Gateway Protocols. And now second category we have Exterior Gateway Protocols. Now in this we have one approach called Path Vector Routing, and in that one popular protocol we are going to see, that is Border Gateway Protocol. So friends, this is the overview of classification. So whenever now we will discuss it in detail, so you will not get confused and you will have complete idea in which category what routing protocol we are discussing. Okay, now we will go to the detailed concept of these various protocols. So here now first category we have, main category we have Interior Gateway Protocols. So friends, here these IGPs are used for performing the routing within the single autonomous system or a network. So here the autonomous system is a very large, very complex group of network which are following a single routing policy. So our internet is made up of large number of autonomous systems. There are thousands of autonomous systems by which our internet is made up. So the Interior Gateway Protocols having target to operate only within the autonomous system. So every autonomous system is having certain unique autonomous system number, that is ASN. So this ASN is used for identifying a specific autonomous system. So whatever protocols we are going to learn in this category, they all will work within the specific autonomous system only. They will not responsible for operating outside of autonomous system. For that there is another category, there are another list of protocols. So in this main category now we have a approach called distance vector protocol. So this distance vector routing is determining the best path to the destination based on metric called hop count. Now hop count is number of routers that are available on the path between source and destination. So for example, if there are 3 routers present between source and destination, then hop count will be 3. So likewise, it counts the number of routers available on the network, and based on that it determines the hop count value. So wherever it will find the minimum hop count value, that path it select for forwarding all the packets to the destination. This is basically the concept of distance vector protocol. So in distance vector protocol, whatever routers are involved, all they are periodically sharing their routing tables with their neighbors for providing the information regarding various routes that are available for a communication. So all routers are responsible for sharing their routing information to each other. That's why every router will get idea which various paths are available for a communication within the specific network domain. So friends, there are 2 protocols in this approach we have first protocol is called RIP and second protocol is EIGRP. Now here we are giving very short overview because this video is dedicated to understand RIP. Okay, so RIP stands for Routing Information Protocol, and this protocol is based on distance vector protocol approach. So this protocol is using now hop count as a metric to determining the best path, the optimal path between the source and destination. Two versions we need to learn here: RIP version 1, RIP version 2. So RIP version 1 is providing classful addressing where it is not using subnet mask, whereas RIP version 2 is used for classless addressing. It is providing the subnet mask, sharing information, or while sharing information they are including the subnet mask. So main difference you will learn here between version 1 and version 2, that version 1 do not include subnet mask, whereas version 2 include subnet mask. Okay, now second category we have EIGRP, Enhanced Interior Gateway Routing Protocol. So already we told this is the proprietary routing protocol by the Cisco, and this protocol is combining the best characteristics of distance vector as well as link state protocols. So this protocol is using composition of various metrics to find out the best path between source and destination. So it may use bandwidth, delay, reliability, load, etc. Okay, now this was the first category in the interior gateway protocols, distance vector protocols. Now second category we have link state protocols. Now in link state protocols, the best path between source and destination is calculated by using the complete network topology and their characteristics. So in distance vector routing, the node was not having the knowledge of complete topology, but here every node will have a complete database of network topology. That's why it will have all the knowledge about network domain. This is the main difference you try to learn between distance vector and link state routing protocol. Now friends, in link state routing protocol we have two categories. First one is called open shortest path first. So this protocol is based on link state protocol and it calculates the shortest path between source and destination based on the cost metric, and it is commonly used in large complex networks having support for variable length subnet mask. Second category we have in link state protocols is intermediate system to intermediate system. So this is another link state routing protocol, and this protocol is also used for large complex networks. So this protocol is widely used by internet service providers and their networks. So these are the various subcategories we have seen in the interior gateway protocols. Now we are moving to the second main category, exterior gateway protocol. Now if you remember, we told regarding interior gateway protocol that these are used for routing within autonomous systems. So exactly opposite, this will be used to route outside of autonomous system, or you may say between autonomous systems. So whenever there is a question of routing between two different autonomous systems, we need to understand exterior gateway protocols. So here it is, exterior gateway protocols. So these are the protocols that are used for exchanging information between autonomous system. So this is the important point. So whenever two autonomous systems and their hosts are exchanging data with each other, then the exterior gateway protocols coming in the picture. So these protocols having one subcategory called path vector routing. So in the path vector routing, they are actually determining the path or the sequence of autonomous system through which the packets will travel. So if there are n number of autonomous systems available between source and destination, so job of path vector routing protocol will be identifying the autonomous systems that are available between source and destination, and it is stored in form of sequence of names of autonomous systems. That's why it is referred as path vector, because it is representing certain path. So it may store like autonomous system 1 to autonomous system 2, autonomous system 5, autonomous system 7 or 6. So you can see here, this is a sequence of autonomous systems which is actually representing the path between source and destination. So whatever packets will be forwarded from source to the destination, they will go through all these autonomous systems. So such kind of approach the path vector routing is using. So in this category, there is one popular protocol having name BGP, Border Gateway Protocol. So this protocol is a path vector protocol, and this protocol is very important for global routing of internet traffic, because as we learn, internet is made up of thousands of autonomous systems. So friends, this was the broad overview of various routing protocols available. Now we knew the place of RIP, where it lies. So you can see now in the first category, that is interior gateway protocol, RIP protocol is available, and this RIP is using distance vector protocol approach. So from this you might got idea, RIP is used for routing within the specific autonomous system. So let's go in more detail now regarding RIP. So RIP protocol is a dynamic routing protocol, means it has ability to learn the new paths available, to find the new paths available, or whenever there will be any change in the network, so it can learn that change, and according to that it can modify its routing information table and available paths. That's why we are saying RIP is a dynamic routing protocol, and this protocol allows routers to find out the best path, optimal path between the source and destination. As we discuss, every router will share the routing information with its neighbor. So they will share this information to each other periodically, by which every router in the network will learn the available paths for the communication. So if there is any change in the network, if any path got down, so this periodic information will make aware other routers that the path is not available more for communication. Likewise, the periodic updates are used by the RIP protocol. So for every 30 seconds they are sharing this routing information to their immediate neighbors. There is no concern whether there is any change in the network or not. They are keep sharing this routing information after every 30 seconds. As we told, RIP is based on distance vector protocol. So RIP protocol is based on distance vector routing, and they are using hop count as a routing matrix. So this will give the number of routers that the packet has to cross while reaching from source to destination. So in RIP, the path that will have the lowest hop count will be considered as the best path for transmitting packets between the source and destination. So whichever path it will find with the lowest hop count, it will simply record it in its routing table or its routing table database. So friends, for preventing the looping within the network, they are limiting the number of hops allowed in the path between source and destination. So maximum hop count allowed in the RIP protocol is 15. So if there is a hop count having value more than 15, then it will be considered as a unreachable network in RIP. So this is the little bit introduction of RIP. Now let's try to talk about the versions of RIP. So there are two versions already we told you, RIP version 1 and RIP version 2. So RIP version 1 is the original version and it is supporting only classful addressing or classful routing. So while sharing the information regarding routing with neighbors, they are not including the subnet mask information in their updates, in their routing information. So what they are assuming? So they are assuming all networks will have the same class and subnet mask. So RIP version 1 is used for classful addressing. Second version we have RIP version 2. So this version can be viewed as a improved version, modified version, enhanced version, and it is having support for classless addressing. So how they are achieving the classless addressing? So they are including the subnet mask information within their updates. So whenever any update they are sharing to the neighbors, so they are including subnet mask information as well within their updates. So apart from that, RIP version 2 also supports the authentication. So it can verify the identity and integrity of the router who is sharing these updates. So RIP protocol is simple and easy to configure, but there are certain limitations. Let's try to go through them quickly. So here the first problem with RIP protocol is slow convergence time. So it means that it take a long time to update the routing information and reach a consistent state after network change, or if there is any failure, if there is any path unavailability within the network. This is the first problem. Second problem is high bandwidth consumption. As we discuss, it sends the full routing table to its immediate neighbors after every 30 seconds by default, regardless whether there is change or not. So that's why there might be higher usage of bandwidth, and sometimes it may create congestion as well. So third drawback, you have higher risk of routing loops. So in this scenario, the packets are getting forwarded endlessly between the routers, and they are just getting forwarded. They are not reaching to their appropriate destination. Last drawback we are going to see here, low scalability. So this protocol is suitable only for simple and small networks. It is not suited for large and complex network because it will contain a lot of networking devices like routers, and there will be a lot of sub networks as well. These are few drawbacks of RIP. Now at last we have to go through few commands that we are going to use in the Cisco Packet Tracer for configuring RIP. So here these are the commands that we are going to use for configuring the interface. So here we are in the configuration mode. This is the R1 router and this is the configuration mode of that. So here first of all we are trying to access the interface fast Ethernet 00, and we are trying to assign IP address to that one using this command IP address. This is the IP address for this interface fast Ethernet 00, and this is the subnet mask. and this no shutdown will make ensure that a link is up and running. Okay. Now whatever interfaces you will have in your network, for all interfaces you will follow the same procedure. Now after configuring all interfaces, you will configure RIP. So again you will be in the configuration mode of router. This is the command router RIP. So you will enter in the configuration of router. So here specify the version. So here you can see we are specifying RIP version 2. The network command will specify the network address which we want to provide to the routing information protocol, so it can learn the new available paths. So in this example, two routers we are specifying here, 10.0.0.0 and 20.0.0.0. So this router will learn about these two networks. And friends, for verifying the RIP configuration, we may use this command show IP route. So it will print all the details of routing. And there is another command show IP route RIP. So this will print the routes that are specifically learned through the RIP protocol. Both of these commands you may try for verifying the RIP configuration. So this was the little bit overview about the commands that we are going to use in the configuration. Now friends, I will take you to the Cisco Packet Tracer, and here we are going to configure now RIP protocol. So here I am going to place this 1841 router, another router we have placed. So one host we are adding in this network. This is another host we are adding. Now we will quickly connect them. And one change we need to do here to connect these two routers with each other, serial port we are going to use. So for that purpose, click on router. Then here, first of all, you turn off your router. You can see right now it is on. Turn off it to make any change. So here look for HWIC-2T, that is Cisco to port serial high speed WAN interface. So this module we have to add within our router. So click on this and drag it to the router like this. Okay, and now you can turn on your router again. So same change we have to make here as well. So we will go in the router, we will turn it off first of all, add this module like this, and we can turn it again on. And now we will find that it will be available with this serial port. You can see fast Ethernet 0, 1, and then we have serial ports as well. Now we will be able to connect these two routers. So for that purpose we will use this serial DC. So I will click this. Now select this serial port 010, and here we will select the port serial 010 like this. So here the connections are completed. Now next to that we will place nodes for all interfaces, so we will have idea about the various networks available. So the first network here we will assume, so let's say this network is 30.0.0.0, this network is 40.0.0.0, and this third network we have 50.0.0.0. Now in this network now we have two interfaces, the fast Ethernet 00 and this host which is connecting to that interface. So for this interface, let's assume IP 30.0.0.0.1. And for this host, let's assume IP 30.0.0.5. Okay, now in this second network 40.0.0 we have two interfaces. So this serial 0.1.0 and this serial 0.1.0 for the second router. So here for this interface, let's assume IP 40.0.0.1, and for this interface let's assume IP 40.0.0.0.2. Now this was about second network. Now third network we have 50.0.0.0. So in this again we have two interfaces. First one now fast Ethernet 00. So for this assume IP 50.0.0.1, and for the second endpoint or host we have IP now, let's say 50.0.0.5. Okay, we have placed nodes for all the available interfaces. Now we will configure them one by one. So first of all we will go to the router 1 and we will go to its CLI, and here it is asking whether you want to enter in the initial configuration. We will say no. Now hit the enable command here. Now we will go to the configuration mode. So configuration mode will be entered with help of configure terminal command. Now here first of all we will assign IP to the first interface of router 0, that is fast Ethernet 00. So here I am going to use interface and type the name of interface fast Ethernet 0/0. Hit enter. Now specify the IP for that. So IP address, and what is our IP address? So we have 30.0.0.1. So here we will specify the subnet mask as it is belonging to class A, so 255.0.0.0. So if I maximize, so complete command is like this. So IP address, this is the IP of class A and this is the subnet mask. So hit enter, and after that put command no shutdown. So link will got up. So now you can see link got up. Okay, now in this router there is another interface we have. This is serial interface, and IP for this interface is 40.0.0.1. So here we will now access that interface. So I will say interface configure terminal, and here we will specify interface serial. So see that interface serial 0. Now specify the IP. So IP address, so 40.0.0.1, and specify the subnet mask 255.0.0.0. Hit enter, and now specify the command no shutdown. Okay, so this link will got up whenever we will configure this second router interface. Okay, so for now the configuration of router 1 is completed. So we will close this. Now we will access the second router here. We will go to CLI, here no, So we will use enable. Same commands now friends we are going to follow here. So in this router we have two interfaces, one is the serial one is this fast Ethernet. So first of all I am going to configure this fast Ethernet. So here I will type configure terminal. Now here we will specify interface fast Ethernet 0/0. Hit enter. Now specify the IP 50.0.0.1. So here we will write IP address 50.0.0.1, subnet mask 255.0.0.0. Hit enter. Now to make link up, use no shutdown command. Link got up. Now quickly I will configure another interface we have, serial interface. So here we will type interface serial and it is 0/1/0. Now specify IP address. So 40.0.0.2 and specify subnet mask 255.0.0. Hit enter and now use command no shutdown. This link also got up. So here as well configuration of router 2 is completed. So we will close now this. Now we will go to the PC and here we will assign the IP for our machine. So here IP is 30.0.0.5. Default gateway is 30.0.0.1. Okay, so this is what configuration we have. Close this. Now come to the second machine, desktop IP. Here IP will be 50.0.0.5. Default gateway will be 50.0.0.1. So our configuration is done now. So it's time to use now RIP protocol on both of these routers. So for that purpose we are going to use router RIP command and version 2, and this network command we are going to use for providing the address of our network. So it will learn. So here I will go to the CLI of router again, and here I am going to okay, so here again we will enter in the configuration terminal, and now here we will specify command router RIP. Now hit enter. Now specify the version, so version 2, and now we need to specify the address of network which this router should learn. So if you observe here, this router 1 is connected to two networks. First network is 30.0.0.0 and second network is 40.0.0.0. So we need to provide these two networks to this router so it can learn their available paths. So here we will specify now network, and first network is 30.0.0. Hit enter. Second network is 40.0.0.0. That is what we have in the configuring RIP. Okay, so here the configuration of first router with RIP is completed. Now we will go to the second router. Here now friends, you learn this router is connected to two networks, or it is part of two networks. First network is this one 50,000 and second network is this one 40,000. So here I will specify configure terminal. Now here we will specify command router RIP version 2, and now specify network. First network is 50,000, second network is 40,000. So configuration of second router is also completed here. Now friends, we can verify this configuration of RIP with help of this command. So let's try this command now on router 1. So again we are in the CLI of router, so I will press exit, show IP root, and now here we can see now these are the details of available routes. So this RIP is presented by letter R in the routes. So for example, you can see router 1 has learned this new available network through the network 40,002. So if you observe this, router 1 is learn about this new available network 50,000 through the second router, because this both router exchange the routing information with each other. So that's why. So here this C is showing you to which networks the router 1 is connected. So router 1 is part of two networks. You can see first network is 30,000 and second network is 40,000. So through RIP it has learned this third network. So we have successfully configured RIP. Another command we have IP root RIP. So we can see now this route is learned through RIP by router 1. Okay, so same thing we may try for router 2 as well. So we will go to router 2 now, and here show IP route, hit enter. Now in this as well you can see router 2 is connected to these two networks 40,000 and 50,000, and it has learned regarding the new network, that is 30,000. So we may display the specific route as well which has learned by router through RIP. So for that purpose we will use command show IP route RIP and hit enter. So you can see now router 2 has learned regarding this network through RIP via this 40,001 network or interface. So this is how we have successfully configured RIP protocol in the Cisco Packet Tracer. So friends, if you find this video useful, please like and share this video. Friends, if you are visiting this channel first time, then please subscribe this channel and hit the bell icon. So whenever we will post any new video, you will get the update regarding same. So friends, thank you for watching this video, and I will see you next video.